Time and time again, Belgium have been dubbed the dark horses of pretty much every competition that they've taken part in. However, could this year be their year? And how will they be lining up? So today, I'm going to take a look at Roberto Martinez and his team and who could be in the starting 11. Now, due to some injuries and some players not always being available, we have seen Martinez opt for more of a 3-4-2-1 formation. However, I think that he's going to revert back to his regular 3-4-3. So let's kick things off taking a look at the goalkeeper. And for me, it's got to be Thibaut Courtois. I cannot imagine any other player in between the sticks for Belgium. I mean, he's had a really successful season for Real Madrid in La Liga. Looking at just the goalkeeping, I mean, he's managed to keep 17 clean sheets in La Liga. He's also a vital part of this Belgium squad, and he has to be in that starting lineup. While Simon Mignolet is a good second choice keeper, I can't see him truly challenging for this spot, and I definitely cannot see Matt Sells in goal with only 6 league appearances this season and 1 international cap. So yeah, this is one of the easier areas of the pitch to pick. It's definitely going to be Courtois. So with probably the easiest name to pick in the starting 11 done and dusted, let's take a look at the centre-back. So of course, we are used to seeing the likes of Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen and Thomas Vermaelen in the trio at the back. However, these players are 32, 34, 35 years of age, and can I really truly see Roberto Martinez starting with all 3 at the back for Euros 2020? I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still good players, but I think that having all 3 of them means that they will lack a little bit of pace, and this means that they could then be exploited for this. So they definitely need a new, fresh, younger face, which is why I am going for Jason Denayer. So with Denayer in, who's out? Who is not going to be making the cut? I'm gonna have to go with Thomas Vermaelen. I mean, he's 35 years of age, like I say. He's only managed 9 league appearances this season. And I think the fact that he's made it into this squad really does highlight the lack of depth that Belgium really do have with their defenders. I mean, I guess in some ways it's great that he's going. I'm sure that he has a lot of experience, a lot of advice maybe for the younger players. He can fill in if needed, alongside the likes of Dedrick Boyata. But for me, I just cannot say that he is going to be in this starting 11. Like I say, a little bit too old. He's not had enough game time. So yeah, he is the one that does not make the cut. However, I do think that Alderweireld is a no-brainer. I mean, he's been a big part of Belgium squads in the past in really big competitions. He's the younger of the trio that I have spoken about. And also he's had some really good solid game time with Spurs, which puts him in a really good position. Now in the trio, I'm probably going to put him more to the right side just because he can also play in that role of a right back, so I think that's probably where he's more naturally suited, but yeah, definitely has to start. And then as I mentioned, Jason Denayer, I think that he will perhaps be in more of a central role in this defensive trio, and I think that he's more than solidified his place in this team. We've seen him playing in quite a few friendlies. I think that his performances with Lyon over the season has also definitely helped his case, and the fact that, like I say, he is younger, he's definitely going to be able to add some pace to this team, so that is where I see him in this starting 11. And then completing the trio is Jan Vertonghen, the former captain of Belgium. He definitely has to be in this team. I think kind of like Alderweireld, he has had a really good season with Benfica regarding his game time, and although we are normally used to seeing him on more the right-hand side of this trio with Martinez, Martinez has actually switched it up so many times with this back 3 that I don't necessarily think he will start there. I think the fact that he can also play the role of left back means that he will probably be more on the left side. But yeah, another player that is such a big name in this Belgium squad, and for me, he definitely has to start. So with the defensive trio done, we will move into the midfield. Now, of course, Martinez is going to probably go with 4. And when it comes to the right wing-back position, he does tend to go with more of a defensively minded player. Now, there is Timothy Castagne who could be in the mix here, but I am going to go with the old faithful, Thomas Meunier. Meunier did actually play quite an important role in their World Cup qualifying wins. Of course, with Borussia Dortmund, he has lost out quite a bit to Lucas Piszczek. However, I feel that Martinez is still going to go with him because of his experience and the fact that he is so good in that defensive role. The fact that we've seen him in quite a few friendlies, I think really does indicate that this is who he's going to go with. Of course, there is Timothy Castagne. Now, he does have the upper hand on Meunier because he has had a lot more game time, especially under Brendan Rodgers with Leicester City. And I do think that he definitely deserves an opportunity to display his talents. But like I say, for the reasons I've mentioned, I just don't think he's done enough to make the cut, and I feel like it will definitely be Meunier in this position. So looking more at the central area of the midfield, and I think that this one could be tough for Roberto Martinez. Now, as I've mentioned, the trio at the back do have one or two more aging names. So what this means is that in the past, we have seen that although they're still defensively strong, they're maybe not as mobile. Of course, I think this will change with Jason Denayer being involved. However, what we have seen in the past is the use of Axel Witsel. So he has, even though he is 32 himself, been able to bring quite a good balance and almost protect the defence. However, of course, he is injured. He's recovering from a torn Achilles tendon he suffered in January, and it really will be a close call to see if he's fit in time. And even if he does make a full recovery, he's actually stated himself that he doesn't believe that he would be able to play 6 or 7 games in a tournament. So he's a little bit of an unreliable one, and with this in mind, I think that they have to go with Leander Dendoncker. I think this is who will be taking Witsel's place. I think that he can slot really nicely into that role, and although Wolverhampton Wanderers haven't had the greatest season, he's still been able to get quite a good number of minutes on the pitch. So yeah, I think he will definitely be Witsel's replacement, and he has to be in this starting 11. So who will be alongside Dendoncker? Now, we have seen quite a few different names being used by Martinez. Of course, the likes of Dennis Praet and Hans Van Aken. However, one partnership that we've seen a couple of times that I think is what Martinez will be going for is Youri Tielemans. Now, for me, Youri Tielemans has had a brilliant season. He 100% deserves all the praise that he has been getting. He's arguably playing in the best form he has in his footballing career so far. And for me, he definitely should be in this starting 11. I think that defensively, he can still do his bit with really good positioning. But also going forward, he has great ability to find teammates in space, evade press, and we've seen him this season thread balls into the channel and really find gaps in the opposition's defence, which I think will be really important for Belgium. So for me, like I say, he's had a great season. I hope it continues, and he needs to be in the starting 11. So the final piece of the 4 players in the midfield, and when we're looking at more of a left wing back, although Martinez tends to go more defensive on the right, he does go more attacking on the left, and I think that we are going to see Thorgan Hazard in this position. And of course, there is Yannick Carrasco, who's had a good season and does actually have the upper hand on Hazard because he's had more game time this season. However, we haven't really seen Martinez using him too much in this left wing back position. In one of their recent friendlies against Greece, we saw Carrasco more in the left wing position, and in the wing back we did see Hazard, which does kind of indicate that this is who he's leaning more towards. However, we have seen Nasser Chadli and Timothy Castagne all playing in this area of the pitch, which could suggest to some people that maybe Hazard isn't the outright person for this position. So I can understand why people do think, why not give Carrasco a try as well? However, I just feel like Martinez is going to stick with what he's used to with Hazard, and this is why I see him in this area of the pitch, with Martinez sticking with the formula that he's used to. Now, heading more into the right wing position, and I am actually going with Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I know what you're all thinking. We tend to see him in central midfield roles, attacking midfield roles. However, we have seen Martinez deploy him on the left and right with success. He's still managed to score goals. He's still managed to provide assists. I think you could put De Bruyne anywhere on the pitch and he would still manage to perform. He's had such a fantastic season for Manchester City, and although he did suffer a nose fracture and an eye socket fracture in that Champions League final against Chelsea, there are rumours he may miss the first game, but not considering that, I feel like he is still 100% top of the list for Martinez in this starting 11. Like I say, he's been key for Manchester City, and he will be vital for Belgium as well if they want to reach their full potential. I think that this role will allow him to demonstrate his creative skill set like he does time and time again, that influences so many games. And also, when you think of him pairing up with whoever the striker may be that I'll reveal in a moment, especially with the number of assists that he can rack up, he will be brilliant in this position. However, there is another person waiting in the wings in youngster Jeremy Doku. He's an amazing talent who last summer probably wouldn't have even been in this Euro squad. We're seeing so many players at the moment that are featuring this year that maybe wouldn't have last year. He's been at Rennes this season. He's had a fantastic season. He's managed to get Champions League experience, and I think he's actually put in some fantastic performances recently for Belgium, and even managed to get himself a man of the match. So I really do hope that we will see him in some capacity, because he is great on that right wing. But regarding a starting 11, I've got to go with De Bruyne. Over on the left wing now, and it is arguably one of the biggest talking points for Belgium, in Eden Hazard. Now, on one hand, you've got people saying that he's had a really terrible season with Real Madrid. He's not managed to play that much. He's been injured. Maybe he's not going to be 100% fit, so maybe look at some other options. But then on the other hand, you have the fact that he doesn't seem to let Belgium down that often when he plays. Of course, there is Dries Mertens, a great player who can definitely fill in if maybe Hazard isn't 100% fit. And there is the likes of Leandro Trossard and Nasser Chadli that can fill in this area as well. However, I just feel like Martinez is going to go with Hazard. He's already stated in interviews that he backs the player. He thinks that he's brilliant. He thinks that he's going to return to the Belgium squad as a new young player. So if you're saying things like this about your player, I think that you're going to probably start with him. Now, of course, I can understand, like I've said, why Martinez would opt with him, because he has been really good for the national side. He did manage 7 assists in 9 games, and Martinez clearly sees that he is quite an important player in the team. Now, when he's fighting fit and on top form, 100% I agree with this. I can understand why people want him in the team. I can understand why some people are a little bit sceptical. However, like I say, going off what Martinez has been saying, he is definitely going to have Hazard in this starting 11. And let's hope that Hazard actually manages to prove the critics wrong and he has a brilliant tournament and he doesn't get injured. And last but by no means least, heading into this striker role, and I think you all know who I'm going to pick. Now, unfortunately, it is not Christian Benteke. Don't think he's done enough this season to get this spot as striker. There's Michy Batshuayi, similar kind of thing. I just don't think he's on the same level of the striker that I am going with. And it's Romelu Lukaku. He deserves all the flowers this season. He's arguably in the best form of his life. With Inter Milan this season, he's managed 30 goals, 10 assists in 44 games. How could you not start Lukaku? I believe that when he puts on that Belgium shirt, he is going to continue as he's been playing with Inter Milan and provide them with some excellent goals. I also think that having Kevin De Bruyne on the right, they will link up really well. And if they do, this could arguably be one of the most exciting partnerships up front in the Euros competition as a whole. I also think that he's definitely going to be in the mix for that golden boot. It's great to see him playing so well, and like I say, there's no other option. It has got to be Lukaku. So that is my Belgium starting 11 for the Euro 2020 competition. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section who would be in your starting 11. As always, check out all the other content that we've got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.